At our own peril, should we trust the Taliban? Or is there much more to it than meets the eye? Let's ask the experts who've been watching these developments very, very closely and who are already also quite intrigued by a string of developments, not just in Afghanistan, but also in Pakistan. Sushant, Sareen, I've seen your tweet about a corps commander in Pakistan, about the election commission's ruling as far as Imran Khan is concerned. Zawahiri Neutralized, Sirajuddin Haqqani saying that we want to work with India. Dr. Tara Karta is also here. She's a former director, National Security Council Secretariat. Namaste. Always a pleasure speaking with the two of you. So, Sushant, Sareen, how would you see? 15 घंटे बाद, he says, koi Al-Qaeda nahi hai, and 15 घंटे बाद Zawahiri is neutralized in a house which belongs to one of Sirajuddin Haqqani's closest aides.
So, Anand, it's very clear that the Taliban, or at least the Haqqani network, have learned well at the feet of their masters in Pakistan. Isn't this exactly the kind of stuff you heard from the Pakistanis? Let's talk about Osama bin Laden. How many times were you told that Osama bin Laden is dead, Al-Qaeda has been wiped out, etc., etc.? And we know it is inconceivable that where Ayman al-Zawahiri was living, that the Taliban didn't know about his whereabouts. When it was very open that, and they were living very openly. It's like saying that if I was to draw a parallel with Delhi, somebody is living in Malcha Marg or Golf Links, and the government of India does not know who's living out there. It's inconceivable. Okay. And the fact that the man is found from the residence of a close aide of Sirajuddin Haqqani, number one. Number two, there are unconfirmed, and I repeat, unconfirmed reports or rumors, whatever you want to call them, that there are close relatives of Sirajuddin Haqqani who were in that apartment when it was bombed. So for these guys to, it's the typical dissemble and deception which the Pakistanis use, that you give us the coordinates and we will make sure that those threats are snuffed out. Report after report is saying that the Al-Qaeda has got strengthened after the Taliban victory. Operationally, they might not be in a position to strike outside Afghanistan, but organizationally, they have started consolidating themselves, and ideologically, their footprint is expanding. Both in the cyberspace, we are seeing the kind of propaganda aimed against India coming from Al-Qaeda handles and Al-Qaeda accounts. And it is believed that a lot of that is coming from or being generated inside Afghanistan, where these guys have the run of the place. So for Mr. Haqqani to say that, he doesn't know and all of these people are dead and gone and don't exist, is the kind of stuff we've always heard from, these kind of organizations and these kind of people. That is one part of it. The other part of it is, I think, what I would really like to focus on is the ramifications of what has happened on Sunday. Because, it will have ramifications both within the Taliban rank. It will have ramifications as far as the terror infrastructure in Afghanistan is concerned. For example, if there is a sense that, the Taliban as a whole, which is unlikely, or a Taliban faction, which is more likely, has sold out Ayman al-Zawahiri partly to get some kind of assistance back from the Americans, partly to win some brownie points and get recognition, and partly to snuff out the Al-Qaeda challenge, because the Taliban have suffered at the hands of the Al-Qaeda in 2001. They lost their emirate then. They don't want this to happen again. Now, if that was to happen, that creates serious problems within the Taliban ranks between the Al-Qaeda supporters and the Al-Qaeda haters, number one. Number two, many in the Al-Qaeda could start making a beeline for the ISK, because ideologically the ISK has been born out of the womb of the Al-Qaeda. So that is as far as Afghanistan is concerned. But in Pakistan, what happens to, which is almost a kind of a surrender document which the Pakistani army was signing with the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Will that agreement still go through? What will be the response of both the Taliban factions, especially the Haqqanis and the TTP, to the very clear evidence that the Pakistanis were part and parcel or involved in more than one ways in this operation of the Americans. After all, they gave their airspace. We know that there were a lot of chatter, a lot of talks taking place between top American officials and top Pakistani officials. And to imagine that this issue, or at least the right to use the airspace for whatever purposes the Americans wanted, the Pakistanis were not taken in the loop, at least on that much. I don't think is again acceptable to anybody. And clearly, the sense will be that the Pakistanis have sold out what has been happening in sold out Al-Zawahiri simply to get out of the troubled economic waters in which they find themselves. And if that is going to be the case, the Pakistani reliability goes for a 6. Number one. Number two, I think there will be a kind of a blowback inside Pakistan for what they have done. The Pakistanis might think they can handle it. I am not so confident.
Well, just taking this forward, Dr. Tara Karta, quick comment. I've got some more inputs coming through. Let's put out those inputs.